Opposites attract. You've heard the old saying, and when it comes to romantic love, I think it's largely true. The fires of desire are what fuel romantic love, and we tend to be attracted to what's missing, to what we lack. That's why opposite sexes often find themselves engaged in romantic relationship, because we find it endearing to be with someone who embodies what we feel we are lacking. Well, this is great news because it does give us the opportunity to see the world through a new lens, to open our eyes to new ways of being or new experiences, new ways of problem solving, which can be fantastically exhilarating. The bad news is that once you get in a relationship with someone, especially when you close the exit doors by exchanging vows in marriage, you suddenly realize that this is tough, being with someone who experiences things so radically different than you are. Couples I work with sometimes look each other in the eyes when they're dating and say, of all the people in the world, I choose you. But after they're married and the honeymoon is over, they look at each other and think, of all the people in the world, I choose you? It seems so ironic that those things that are so endearing at the beginning can be so aggravating as time goes on. Well, I think it's God's conspiracy to put us with someone who challenges us to grow, who challenges us to be different than what is normal for us, to engage life in a fresh way. It's His conspiracy to help us to learn to die to ourselves in order to live to Him and to the relationship. In marriage, each partner really has to decide that the union, that the entity that is their marriage, is more important and valuable than either of them as individuals. Women are told to submit to their husbands, husbands to lay down their lives for their wives. It's tough to die to self, and yet that's the call of Christ, to take up our cross daily and follow Him. And marriage is one of those areas where we are challenged day by day to lay down our will, our way, to foster harmony, to foster unity. Thankfully, we have Jesus as our role model, who was willing to set aside what was normal for Him, living in heaven, His beauty and power, to engage life in such a way that made intimacy with us and intimacy with God possible. We owe thanks to Him in leading the way to show us how to set aside our way for the good of relationship. There's an old book by a man named Harville Hendricks. It's called Getting the Love You Want. And he proposes that we are likely to marry someone whose deepest need will be our biggest challenge. Well, that seems like a bad joke in a way, but it's God's way of helping us learn how to expand our capacity to love, to embrace someone in a way that really hits the mark at how they need to be loved. My way is where I start, but God's way is where we want to end. Being able to love another as they need to be loved and not as I would love them. In Jesus, we find the capacity, the ability to love another who is distinctly different than we are, who is in some ways opposite. But in doing so, we find great fulfillment. Jesus found joy by enduring the cross because of the unity that He made possible through His death. We find our peace in Him, and unity, harmony come about when we surrender to Him.